Hey guys, I hope y'all are having a wonderful day so far. So I'm very excited about today's video because we're going to be testing out a new drugstore concealer, and it's not very often that a new drugstore concealer comes out that I'm excited about, but I'm very intrigued about this one. So we're going to be checking out the new Covergirl Simply Ageless Triple Action Concealer. So I have this in a couple of shades, so we're going to be doing some swatches, and then of course we're going to test it out and do a wear test for today. So you guys know that I have under eye darkness, I have bags, I have wrinkles, you name it, I got it. So we're gonna see if this improves the look of my under eye at all, and we're gonna see how much coverage it gives because it is supposed to be a full coverage concealer. So I know a lot of y'all have told me that we have similar under eye concerns, so at the end of the video I will let y'all know if I think that this is worth trying out. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so I just applied my foundation and I blended it around the under eye area. So typically when I'm wearing a full face of makeup, I do put on a color corrector on my under eye area underneath my brightening concealer. But whenever I'm testing out a concealer, I don't use color corrector because I don't want to give the concealer like any type of assistance to perform in any way. I want to see how the concealer performs on its own. So the only thing that I have on my under eye area for right now is my skincare. So let's start off with a couple of swatches of the product. So I'm going to swatch Toasted Almond first. This is most likely the shade that I'm going to use for the under eye area. I'm pretty sure the other shade that I have is just too light. Okay, so I already don't like this applicator because let me show you this really quickly. This is supposed to be a ceramic wand applicator, and you see how much product is picking up. It's not picking up very much at all. Maybe they did that on purpose though, because it is supposed to be a full coverage concealer, so maybe you just don't need a whole lot of this. But you see how much it's picking up? Like not very much at all. But this is the shade Toasted Almond. Let me see if I can build it up a little bit. It's even hard to like build up because it literally picks up a dot of concealer. Okay, so this is Toasted Almond. So that looks like a pretty good shade for me for the under eye. And then this next shade is Golden Tan. So I can tell that this is going to be too light, but just in case this is a shade that may work for some of you, let me just show you this shade as well. So this is Golden Tan. So again, this light one here is Golden Tan, and then this one here is Toasted Almond. So I'm going to start with the shade Toasted Almond, and I'm just going to dot it on the under eye, which that's what the instructions say to do. So let's hope that the reason it's only giving me that much product is because that's all the product that I'm going to need. So I always blend out my under eye concealer with this Rare Beauty foundation brush. So I like to just pat the under eye concealer in place and blend it out that way. And I like to concentrate on the inner part of my under eye because that's where I have the most darkness. Okay, so it blended out really nicely. It blended out really easily and really fast. And that was about 5 dots of concealer. So it's definitely adding some brightness. Like this under eye here does look a lot better than this one. This under eye just looks a hot mess today, but I haven't had coffee yet. But anyway, it is definitely helping. It is covering up some. I feel like I'm not getting full coverage. I wanted to wait for a little bit to see what the coverage level is, but let me see. Okay, this is saying medium to full coverage, so it's supposed to be buildable. So I do feel like I'm getting medium coverage so far. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this layer sit for just a second, give it like 15 seconds, and then I'm gonna see if we can build it up to full coverage. Okay, so let's go on with another layer. So I'm just gonna apply pretty much the same amount. We do just a couple more dots. And then one thing I wish I had done with the first layer, let this sit for a few seconds because sometimes that'll help thicken up the concealer and that will also add to the coverage. So I'm gonna let this sit for just a little bit. Okay, so it's been about 30 seconds. So let's go in and blend out this second layer and hopefully we'll get some more coverage. Okay, what are you guys thinking? I don't consider this full coverage, but I'm also just not able to get a whole lot of product out of here with this applicator. This is the wrong color. I'm just not able to get a whole lot of product out of here with this applicator. So, I mean, it's definitely, if you think that you're okay with like medium coverage for your under eye, then this will probably work for you. But you guys know that I like nothing less than full coverage for my under eye area. And this, I can already tell tell that this is just not something that I would pick up over my staple concealers. But that's my first impression. We do still have to like do a wear test and all of that, and I will go back and put on another layer after we do this eye. So let me apply some concealer to this eye while we go over the claims, then we'll compare that, and then we'll go back and see if we can build it up even further. The CoverGirl Simply Ageless Triple Action Concealer is supposed to depuff the under eye with the cooling ceramic wand for an instant cold effect. It's supposed to conceal, giving a lightweight, medium to full coverage, radiant finish, and it's supposed to care for the under eye with the formula infused with hyaluronic acid complex, vitamin C, and niacinamide. It's supposed to give a more youthful looking, wide awake look. This is available in 10 shades, and I got mine from walmart.com for $12.97 each. It is a little cheaper if you can find it on Amazon, but they don't have all of the shades, and just don't get it from Ulta because it's almost $18 at Ulta for some reason. So go with either Walmart or Amazon. And again, I am testing out the shade Toasted Almond. Okay, so here is what my under eyes look like after putting on 2 layers of the concealer, and I feel like it did take away a good amount of the darkness on my under eyes, but I just don't like the way that my under eyes look. Now, part of that is the shade, because this is definitely a shade that I can use, but it's not the most brightening shade. So the other one that I have, Golden Tan, this one is definitely too light for me, but this only comes in 10 shades rather, so there isn't a shade in between these two. So maybe if I mix the 2 shades, I could get like a better brightening effect. But sometimes when you just have a brighter under eye, that alone just makes it look a lot better. But I just don't like the way that my under eyes look, because this is just not giving me the amount of coverage that I would like. It is giving some coverage, so it's not like a horrible concealer, but I definitely would not consider this buildable to full coverage. But we are going to go on top of it with a 3rd layer. If something claims to be buildable to full coverage, I feel like you should definitely get full coverage with 2 layers, if just not 1 layer, but you definitely shouldn't have to go on top of it with a 3rd layer just to build it up to full coverage. But let's see if we can indeed build it up. Should I try putting on more of the product? Okay, I was trying to find a brush that I think can fit inside of the tube, so I'm just going to use this brush to see if I can pick up a little bit more product. And maybe I can get, you know, better coverage like that. So I'm going to put on a good amount, and we're going to let this sit for like a good 30 seconds to see what happens. Okay, going back in with my Rare Beauty brush. I'm blending it out the same way. I'm just patting it on top of, you know, where the concealer is already placed. And that also helps to give better coverage because you're not spreading the concealer around so much. And now that it's pretty much blended, I'm going to take the concealer and just drag it down a little bit and then drag it kind of out. I do feel like it gave me just a little bit more coverage, but it's definitely not, it's not a full coverage concealer. And keep in mind the shade is off too, because like I said earlier, or I don't know if I said this earlier, but when shades of complexion products are off, I always think that that makes it a bit more difficult to determine if it's actually working the way that it should, because sometimes it's hard to get past what the shade looks like. So if I had a better shade, we could like better assess, but I am not getting full coverage, I don't think. I think I'm getting like a good medium coverage. So just for the sake of like keeping my face balanced, I'm gonna put a little bit more of this on my chin and my forehead area, just so that I'm not having like too many like different shades going on my face. Okay, I'm going to quickly show you guys how I'm going to set the concealer in place. So I'm going to be using my Maybelline finishing powder. This one is in the shade Light, and this has a slight pinkish tone too. But I think I need something that has a little bit of pink in it just to kind of like bring back some life to my under eye. So I'm just picking some up on my little brush, and I'm just going to pat right on the immediate under eye area. I think that helped a little bit, right? It looks a little bit brighter over here. Okay, so this is what the under eye looks like when it's nice and set. The setting powder, I think, definitely made a difference. I think my under eyes look a lot better now, but still not crazy about them. But, you know, we'll see how it goes throughout the day. So I'm going to finish up the rest of my makeup off camera. I will come back and I'll just wrap up my first impressions and then we'll get started with our wear test. Okay, so here's my makeup for today. So my first impression on this concealer, I don't like it so far. It's not horrible though, but it's just not for me so far. I don't think I'm even going to bother doing like a full day wear test. I do want to wear it for a couple of hours just to see if anything changes, but I don't think that this is something that I would recommend, but that's just my first impression. So let's take a look at some of these claims. Now it says that it's supposed to depuff with the cooling ceramic wand. The wand was not cooling at all. It just felt like room temperature to me, and it definitely did not depuff anything. Like I can still very visibly see my eye bags. To me, they look just the same. They just look not as dark because the concealer did give me some coverage, but I don't think it depuffed anything, and I don't think it has that cooling effect to it. It claims to be a lightweight, medium to full coverage radiant finish. It definitely is lightweight, but a big part of that is simply because it's not giving you a whole lot of product. I think that this is a strong medium concealer. I don't think it builds up to a full coverage, and the radiant finish, I don't think it was all that radiant. I think it was more of just like a natural finish, definitely not drying or anything like that. So the formula feels just fine on the skin. It doesn't feel like it's drying or tightening or anything like that. It is very comfortable, but I don't think it's a radiant finish. I think it's just a nice natural finish, and I think it's a strong medium coverage. I don't think you can build this up to a full coverage. And in terms of the care, I mean, you're gonna have to wear it for a few times to see if you notice anything with that. But like I said, I'm only gonna wear it for a few hours just to see if anything changes. But first impression, I just wouldn't recommend it if you're looking for something that's gonna give your under eyes full coverage. If you think that you can get away with medium coverage, then maybe try it out. That's my first impression. Let me know what y'all are thinking so far. I'm gonna wear this for maybe like 4 hours or so, and then I'll come back and I'll wrap everything up. So it's going on 11 o'clock in the morning, so I'll probably come back at, let's say, like 3 in the afternoon, and then we'll wrap things up. So I'll see y'all a little bit later. Okay guys, I am back. It's going on 4 o'clock in the evening, so I believe that puts us at about a 5.5 hour wear test, somewhere around there. This is what my under eye is looking like after a few hours of wear. So I actually think the concealer wore okay. I don't notice any creasing. It doesn't look or feel drying. It's laying on the skin really nicely, and I think it wears pretty well. It's only been like a few hours, but you know, so far it is wearing okay. But I do still have some concerns about this. So just to wrap up my final thoughts on this new CoverGirl concealer, for those of you who are always telling me in the comments that we have similar under eye concerns, I know that we tend to like full coverage concealer. So if you're looking for a full coverage concealer, this is not it, and that's my biggest gripe with this. I think that I put on way too much product to not get full coverage. I think this is a medium coverage at best. I also mentioned earlier that I didn't notice a cooling effect with the ceramic wand. However, you're actually supposed to apply and blend with the wand. So if you're going to be wiping this wand back and forth on the under eye, it probably is going to give you more of a cooling effect than I encountered today, but I didn't know that I was supposed to try to blend it out with this too. So unfortunately, I can't test that out now. But either way, I'm not a big fan of the wand, but I do think it was designed this way on purpose. But those are my final thoughts on this new CoverGirl concealer. So I hope that y'all enjoyed the video today. If you did, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed before you head out, and I will see y'all back here for my next one. Until then, take care. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.